next topic is testimonials.
Not something I'm the best at getting. I'm always getting told this. Should chase it more.
Testimonials, they are. I did them as a service at some point to help people get testimonials because, and someone I was talking to then said, like, why is getting good testimonials like pulling teeth from a chicken? And that image has stayed with me. But I think, and especially when we do work that is quite transformative, it's sometimes difficult for people to put into words what exactly it is that happened. Sometimes it's also just kind of personal and they don't want to talk about it. I
Yeah.
could see that as well for your business. But one of the things that especially when we have service-based businesses, is to give people a couple of questions that they can answer, because then they have a guideline. Otherwise, what happens a lot is that reviews then, or testimonials, whatever you want to call them, but that they become really generic. It was great working with Tony. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. What was great about it?
Yeah. But I think, right, depending on the field you're in, for mine being coaching stroke therapy, I have a lot of people who have said to me is that they will give me verbal feedback on it. The reason they don't want to put it in writing is they don't want other people to know that they've had to get this help, which I totally appreciate. Because I say to them, if everybody comes to me, everything's confidential. No one will ever know you've even been here if you don't want anybody to know. It's not published anywhere or anything. So the testimonials that sometimes you get don't have to be in writing. They don't have to be these things on Google or what's the other one? Trustpilot, things like that. It can just be getting a testimonial from someone to let you know what you're doing right, but also what you're not doing right. I have this thing I've mentioned probably in our videos before, 3 questions that I use for everything I do. What did I do right? What did I not do right? And what can I do differently? Or what can I do better? And I'll ask clients that. And sometimes people find that hard to ask that, because they'll ask the first one, what did I do well? They don't like asking the other 2, because they feel as though, well, that means I've done something wrong. It doesn't. It's how you improve, especially being a sole business owner. Is who else is going to give you that feedback except the people you work
Well,
with?
and also, like, if someone says, "Oh, I would do this differently," it doesn't mean that you have to start doing that. You don't
No.
have to, it's just input, because it could just be that only that person would appreciate that.
Yeah.
You don't have to change your entire business around just because one person would appreciate, I don't know, more handouts or whatever it is, right? But I think as well that when we ask for testimonials and when people think it's too personal or it's too, they don't want people to know, like, there's nothing wrong with anonymizing testimonials, especially when you're in that field, because people who want to work with you might also feel like, oh, I would want to talk about this publicly,
Yeah.
right? So there's nothing wrong with that. I also had entire discussions with people on whether or not you should edit reviews, and I always say, like, leave them as much in the words of the person as you can, but by all means correct spelling mistakes, because you don't, because this was the whole point, that someone left all the spelling mistakes in someone's review, and I was like, well, it's not very kind either, right? Like, if you're using it in your PowerPoint and it's got typos in it and their name under it, either people are going to think that you made the typos, which won't give them a whole lot of trust, but also, like, it's respectful to just make sure that it's correct, right? Like, and that doesn't mean that you're changing the whole discussion, because they were like, oh, but then you've changed it. And I was like, no, you've edited it, you've corrected it. You've not changed the sentiment of what they've said.
I agree in principle with most of it, but there's something I've had with somebody recently with that, and said is that when they saw the review, I had adjusted a couple of things on it, like you said, because some of the spelling was quite out, and the person's dyslexic. And what they said was, by me changing it, made them feel as though they'd done something wrong.
All right.
Right?
I always send them back to the person and
And
ask
say they're
for,
okay before you put on. Yeah.
yeah,
That's the
yeah.
thing, as I was going to say, that's the bit that's important. Because you never know why someone writes something a certain way. And yeah, it's not, when you're dyslexic, for her saying is that other people know it, but it's not something to hide. Yeah, it'd be good to use a grammar thing, so she learned a bit from that as well. It would have been better maybe to grammar check it, spell check on us. We talked about Grammarly and things like that. But what she said is that when it depended what it was, if it was something and she was doing for someone, she would do that. But because it was something that meant something from her, then she wanted to come exactly how she would say it and do it. And I went, that was quite a powerful, important point as well, because I had a similar thought to you, is that, yeah, I look at the spells that only come in and go, if I put it out, people might think that's me that's done that. So, especially that I write things for other people, that as well, and I don't want to think I'm going to make that many mistakes on theirs. But it was quite an important part of it. But I think it's, what got me more than anything was the sentiment behind it. When she said it, not Jane, it was, one of the spell mistakes I did or not, it was what she said that was so important. And some I wasn't expecting from her, which was really nice to actually hear things like that. But I found that a lot that people don't seem to want to give them, not just for that reason, there must be other reasons. Because I ask a lot to clients when they're finishing with them, is could they leave a review if they mind or not? It lets other people know what I'm doing right, what I'm not doing right on it. And don't worry if it's not saying everything's perfect, because that's how I learned as well. I think people don't write reviews. A lot of the time they don't want to put on it if it's not perfect, because they don't want to sound as though they're being nasty or something like that.
They don't want to hurt your feelings.
Yeah, and that's the bits important that you need to get across to them. That doesn't matter as much. Yeah, I know people have said to me they don't like it because it impacts their ratings or whatever on the review things. I don't think so, because I think people, if it's all perfect all the time, and everything seems perfect, you're doing all the time, people sometimes think that doesn't feel real. So you need a bit of things where, I'm saying I've not had one actually put a bad one on yet on, yeah, so I don't know, after saying this, people might change that. But I've had things, yeah, people gave to me, and some's been really good. Somebody said something to me about my modality, a new thing I've got called Blast. I said I was how all the years of coaching I've done in therapy mixed together, put into this framework. And I was going over it with someone, and she went, actually, if I was done, I would have put that back into like the B. It was the beginning of it. And I was like, no, it goes, actually, she's right. It did fit better there. Now, I worked so hard on this for about 11 months, 12 months to get this program exactly the way I wanted. And the first person that looked at it pointed something out that I didn't see. That's a different type of testimonial for people, but it was feedback, which is what testimonial basically is. But it was so good. And when I sent a message to her, she said she felt so good about that because she felt bad giving me it. She thought she was picking on me, saying, well, that doesn't seem right. But actually, she highlighted something that did fit in better in another part of it. And I went, that's what testimonials should be about. It's not just... your testimonial, your face it out as the cat's jumping on you. That's good.
The cat is giving me some free acupuncture. Yeah, it's that's their favourite.
It's take all testimonials as feedback and learn from them and then move forward. That's an important part of it.
Yeah, I think although I also think that a testimonial and an evaluation are slightly different. Because one is aimed at the person, the evaluation is aimed at you. The testimonial is aimed at other people who might consider buying from you. And you can definitely integrate that a little bit. And what I also would say, like, give people the choice on how they want to give you that feedback or want to give you that testimonial. I once gave someone a testimonial and then I got the feedback and then they were like, oh, would you mind doing it in the format that I provided? And I was like, I'm not doing another review of your thing just because you insist on doing it on video in a specific format. Like, no, I've given you feedback. It's absolutely usable. It's just in a way that is comfortable to me because, like you say, people find it uncomfortable enough. So if they want to do it in a voice note and you need a written one, let them do it in a voice note and then just transcribe the voice note, clean up the language a little bit, send it back to them saying, like, does this represent what it is that you wanted to say to me? Let them sign it off. And then, there's so many ways and so many tools now that we can use what someone gives us and then lift it into whatever format we want it to be. But, be grateful for the reviews you get and don't punish people by going like, well, that's not how I expected you to do it. That's the wrong format. That's not a thing.
And that's a brilliant point you just made. Be grateful for getting in them. People who take the time to do a testimony, you should be grateful for, because a lot of it's out with what you're already working with them. It's their time they're taking it to sit there and do that. So yeah, anyway it comes back. I've had them on video. I've had them, yeah, the voice note thing is fun enough. Audio, I've had a couple of people do that recently on audio ones on WhatsApp and sent me a voice note, which I would never have thought of doing to somebody. They sent me on there, but I've also had it on LinkedIn, which I didn't even know you could do. They send these audio things and that on these and sending things through to me to say, like, thank you for this, you helped with it, whatever it was. And it makes you feel great when you get something like when you know you've helped someone. But I think also when the testimony you get back, maybe good in certain areas, but certain things you can improve on, that's still a great testimonial because it's really honest for me as well when someone does that. But as long as it's done in the right way, it's constructive, then that's right. And that's important about any testimonial for me. Make it constructive.
Yeah.
I've had people do it for the sake of doing it and putting things on. I didn't like any of this. And there's no comments. There's nothing to say why. Or you get see these things, that really annoys me. If you're looking something up to buy an object and you look up Amazon, for example, and it's got 1 star, you go, oh, yeah, man, there must be something wrong with that. And you look at it and there's no comments. It just says 1 star, but not tell you why. And yet there's 25 stars. Have all got a reason under it. So why would that one be different? And that's what they think can be detrimental to people. So make sure if you are doing a testimonial, yeah, do it how you feel. It's the other person might give you an idea or a guide, you see how they like it written. It doesn't matter. What matters the most is you taking the time to do that for someone, and they should appreciate that.
And give some, you can give some questions or some prompts or whatever to help people get started on it. But if they don't follow your questions or your prompts, like that's never a problem for me. I mean, Tony, anything that you've reviewed of mine just, reduces me to tears, but it's in the best way possible. Tony makes me cry on the regular, people.
Not deliberately, by the way, just in case somebody takes that the wrong way. Yeah.
No, but that's the thing, right? Like, it's so people taking out the time to write something about something that you've created or delivered it's amazing. And it always it makes me quite emotional sometimes when I read what people the feedback that people have given me, because I don't think we always realize how much impact we have on other people, and it's really nice when people take the time to let you know that.
Yeah, that's so important. That it's true, we don't always realize that because we can't see. You can feel it sometimes that I think that's really worked for them, but it's not until maybe they give you that you realize how much. But it's what you don't always realise is it's not the impact necessarily on them, it's the people they know, their family, friends, everyone as well. The impact can be because of that change. And yeah, getting any testimonial that tells you like that is unbelievable, the feeling you can get when you get that. And it doesn't matter who it is. I've been emotional getting some of them. Actually, recently, since Mags is blaming me for doing it to her, you did it to me. I think it was my birthday. I presume it was you anyway, my birthday. It was written. What you wrote about me working with the two of you and Louisa as the other part of setting up shop, and I couldn't believe reading that. Fun, I never did it to him. I was actually going to put that out, part of it. It's like you would do. I would pick certain bits out to use because that was probably one of the best testimonials that I have had. Is just the language that was used in it, but it's the sentiment behind it that you realise when you read that. And that got me quite emotional. I could feel so well not reading it.
Fully genuine.
But that's what I mean about testimonials. Is don't be scared to ask for them because you never know the impact they're going to have. You never know how it's going to make you feel. If it's great, this was all positive, that's brilliant. But it's the other ones, that one like that was left field, that wasn't something about me asking for a testimony. This just came out of a totally different thing, a birthday, and this came out. And that shows it that if you make the right impact on people, the testimonials will come. But just make sure that when you are doing it or you're getting testimonials, you appreciate everyone, good or bad, because they're just doing it to try and help.